Alright guys, this is the Atari Paddle TV plug and play. It was released by Jakks Pacific in 2004, and they actually released two models. They released just a one-player version, and then they released this one, the two-player version. As far as I know, it retailed for about $25 when it came out, and it's got 13 games built in. Interesting story how I picked this up for free, actually. Is someone threw it out, and where I work is actually we're like a certified waste depot, so we recycle electronics through the government. It's a provincially funded program. There's a lot of places now where you can drop off used electronics, and the stuff that people drop off, I could go into a whole other video just explaining you know, monitors that work, LCD monitors and computers, and one guy dropped off an N64 with a bunch of games and my boss took it. Just all kinds of stuff that people want to throw out, but they don't want to throw out. They want to make sure it gets recycled. So this is one of those things, and I mean, it even has batteries in it, so not bad for a free pickup, something that someone was just going to throw out. There's a screw in here that takes the back panel off, and it's got 4 AA's inside, and it's a pretty neat setup because basically your AV cables, of course it's a plug and play, so everything's all in one. Your AV cables come out of here, really long cable on it too, by the way, and then your second player port, or your second player paddle, is once again hardwired into the main unit. You got your single action button on the side of each paddle, and then of course on the main paddle you have some extra controls: power light, power switch. There's a menu button to go back to the menu, 13 built-in games at any time, and there's a small reset button. As you can see there, it's incredibly tiny, so you would need some sort of a pin or something to push it in, so it's not really something that's meant to be pushed. Okay, so let's turn it on here, and we'll see an intro screen come up. Once again, Jakks Pacific. And as you can see here, you use the paddle to select the game. Now most of these games are the 2600 equivalents, but as you can see on the right side of the screen, we actually have 2 of the arcade equivalents. And in this case, Warlords is in the arcade version, and it's also in the 2600 version. So you can see the difference there. As you can tell, the paddle itself works really good. Well, I guess you can't tell, but it's incredibly smooth. It has just the right amount of resistance in it, and it's incredibly accurate. I don't remember how the original Atari paddles felt, but I would imagine that this is very close to how the original ones would have felt. So let's just check out some games. Alright, so now you can watch me suck at most of these games. I really suck at most of these games. Most of them aren't my cup of tea, but of course a few of them are pretty fun. I like the breakout games on here. Obviously, Pong is great. Some of the driving games are kind of neat to see what they were trying to pull off at the time, with almost having too realistic of steering for these games for the time. It's almost eerie. It's pretty cool when you bring up the menu in these games. You almost see a little 2600 console at the bottom of the screen where you can access all 6 of the buttons on a 6 switcher. So changing the difficulty, changing the game select and reset, and then the power switch turns the game off. In other words, it brings you back to the menu to pick another game. So that's pretty cool. Now, like many of these other Atari clones, I can only assume that this is running on a Nintendo on a chip. So of course these aren't genuine Atari ROMs. They're essentially that game rewritten to run on Nintendo emulation, which is weird, but that's how the original Flashback worked, so I can only assume that's how this one works, and that's how a lot of the Jakks Pacific plug-and-plays work. Most of them are Nintendo on a chip, and they're basically rewritten Nintendo games. But either way, I think this thing's pretty cool. If you're a fan of these paddle games and you can pick this thing up for like $5 or $10, go for it. But I certainly wouldn't pay $25 for it.